People from all over the world come to Stillwater to come to our store.
We specialize in theological and related academic sorts of books.
We had been employees of this business for years before we bought the business, so we knew how to sell books, but how to run a business we didn't know. We were on the brink of...
I don't want to think about it.
of getting to a cash flow place that would feel very uncomfortable and letting everybody go and just holding up in the bookstore, the two of us selling books. Currently we have, I think, 7 other employees, so that would have been a big change, but it was, our company was bleeding money, we didn't know how to stop it.
Under the present economic conditions, it's been rather difficult, and he's given us so many great ideas and pushed us to implement them. It's helped so much that we're still in business.
It's very much a sports coach to be. It's someone who has a plan for how to get the team to go somewhere, and he's going to hold you accountable to make sure you achieve that goal.
If you don't do it, you hear about it. And it's good for business. It's great.
Before working with John, our business was a weight on our shoulders. And a weight on our family's shoulders, and although that weight isn't gone now, there's a forward momentum and a good urgency that was just not there before we started working with John. So that just emotional well-being is very, very helpful.
We're going somewhere. It's encouraging. The business is moving somewhere, and our goals seem achievable, and in fact they are.
When people go into business, most people go into business to not fail. You know, they don't go into business to be the best whatever it is in the world. If you started a landscaping company, wouldn't you want to be the best landscaping company in the world, or at least in your city or your state? You know, I still think a lot of people go about business with such a mindset of they just don't want to fail, you know, rather than I want to actually create something incredible.
I don't know any business owner that was trained to be a business owner. They were either a specialist in that industry, they moved up and started, I can do it better than everybody else, so I'm going to start my own. But they were never trained to be a business person.
We were running by the seat of our pants, flying by the seat of our pants. We were just running the business, but we didn't really know how to run a business.
More rather luck than judgment, I would have thought.
Yeah.
Well, for 13, I've been running the business for 26 years, but 13 years doing websites, and we've got a good product. We just don't know anything about business really.
We were struggling. We were trying to make this business go. We were investing a lot into it, and simply we were out of control. The business was me. It was a job. It wasn't a business. It was a thing that I did.
For them, it's a lonely place. Being in business by themselves, they can't talk to other people. They can't talk to their team a lot of the time. Their bank manager, they try to keep a lot of stuff from him a lot of the time. Their accountant, they don't, and they like the idea of having someone to bounce it off, and that's the real benefit.
I can't get through life. I can't do sports. I can't get through school without an educator, a mentor, someone to guide me and lead me. So in life and in business, I need mentors and people to guide me, help me understand what I don't know, and to improve my knowledge base, my beliefs, my views and values comes from learning from other people. And that's where the coach-client relationship comes into play.
As a business owner, we think as business owners that we can do it all and try to juggle all those hats, and what we find out shortly is that we need help. We need business help.
We've got a fantastic definition of what a coach is, and it's something that I position up front before anyone even comes on the coaching program, and that's that a coach is an unreasonable friend. Right? So the friend part is, yes, I'll have empathy, but I won't go into collusion with you. It's not sympathy, it's empathy. Empathy, I can understand where you're coming from, but I'm going to be unreasonable about driving you to get out of that position. Or if you're already, most of our clients have a good business, they want to go from there to there, which is often harder because they're in comfort zone, and we have to help them get to that point. Or they might be doing really well financially, but they've got no time. So we have to be unreasonable about helping them along the way.
One thing I love about business coaching is that it's both kind of theoretical, like you want to do vision and all those big picture things, and it's also very concrete and very specific. And a lot of times people don't fail because they don't know where they're going, but a lot of times they fail because they don't really have a decent step-by-step plan to get there. So helping people really think, what's it going to take?
I would describe coaching as a support system. I'd also describe it as someone to push you off the ledge when you're resisting all things that you know you need to do but you're not willing to do.
What a good coach will do is that they'll recognise your potential, they'll hold you accountable, and they'll encourage you to perform. But that sounds a little bit fluffy. They also know how to make money. They also know how to make a business really hit their numbers consistently, month in, month out. They know how to make sure you're recruiting the right people without you having to pay silly dollar, silly pound to get that kind of experience. And that's where a coach comes in.
We coach everything from the construction companies to wholesalers to manufacturers to service businesses, insurance companies, restaurants. There's not an industry out there that we haven't. I still remember one of our weirdest businesses was a llama trekking company. You know, that one was kind of different, but still, business principles work across industries.
Every great athlete has coaches behind them. You know, you go politics, wherever you want to go, wherever you go, people have people behind them that are great coaches and teaching. So if you're a business, why would you want to have that?
My name is Jess Eichens. My husband David and I own Computer Wrangler, altruistic IT. Getting what you pay for and more. I guess I would describe coaching as the light at the end of the tunnel. It's been about 9 months that we've been working with ActionCOACH, and our revenue has increased by 30%. Our team members are far happier. One thing that we realized when we started with the business coach was how much both of us had our heads in the sand, not really knowing all the things that we were doing wrong in running our business, and wrong being defined as not progressing towards our goals. And I remember after having been with ActionCOACH for a while, sending an email to our business coach and saying, please let us put our heads back in the sand, because there were so many things that we weren't doing right that it was overwhelming. You know, when we first started coaching, Dave and I really didn't have any goals. We didn't have where we wanted to be in 5 years, 10 years. And in starting up with coaching, we were given the opportunity, so to speak, to find those goals and then work backward from there and actually reach those goals. So kind of the light at the end of the tunnel, we know what our goals are at this point, and we know how to achieve them.
Working with a business coach, and what you've got to remember is, for the average business owner, they believe they've tried everything. You know, I've tried this, I've tried that, I've been to this seminar, I've read that book, I've done this, I've talked to my accountant, I've done. And so when you say it's the light at the end of the tunnel, for many of them it is because of that.
There are a lot of just blind spots that you can have as a business owner. You think that what you're doing is working, and until somebody shows you a different approach to it, or how those methods, have you test and measure those methods, you don't realize that what you think is working actually isn't. And so I was working hard, I was spinning my wheels, and I wasn't moving forward.
I was at a point in my career, I mean, I'd started a company about a year ago, and I was at a point with my company where I had to grow or I felt go backwards. But I wasn't quite sure actually how to grow, how to expand. And I knew I didn't have any particular systems or processes in place. I just did the work.
Having been in business already in the past in the cleaning industry, I guess you tend to learn after a period of time that you don't know enough information to grow to the next level. You're successful in where you've got to, but then it's like, how do I then grow my business up to the next level, and sort of trying to get some more structure in your business, getting the direction. And that's what I've found has been the most helpful with my ActionCOACH.
One of the most important things I say to people is, if you're going to work with a coach, you need to have a strong relationship. Because there's going to be some tough times, there's going to be some good times. But during those tough times, you have to trust that person.
Our ActionCOACH kind of helped us figure out a way to communicate together, especially in the early going, because it was very tense. You know, when you're not doing well, everybody's got a short fuse, and he was able to kind of keep things under control. Things got hung under the collar more than once, and you know, it was kind of that voice of reason back there trying to help you keep keep focused. You know, these are the things you've got to be doing.
I just knew that I'd become stagnant in the business, and to get to the next level I was going to have to surround myself with great people, either hiring those individuals to join my business or to find them as resources out in the community. And when I found my action coach, I knew immediately that he was one of those resources.
It starts with the alignment, and to me the alignment is an important place. I always tell my clients it's going to take between 2 and 3 hours, and the longest it ever has is 7.5. I'll be there if I keep peeling back layers of the onion and keep finding things. I'll keep delving. But it's an alignment because I'm aligning myself to their business first of all. I'm digging in deep, I'm finding out all the little things, and I will jump around at that stage. I'll go from people to team to systems to marketing, financials. I'll have a look at a whole range of things. But more importantly, I'm trying to find out what the cause of the pain is that they have in the business, to identify that. And also trying to dig from them where they want to be and what they actually want out of the process.
I'm in public relations, and I know how to do public relations, if you like. But what you're never taught is actually how to run a business. And so you think, okay, well I can come along and I can do what I do for a living and the business will almost run itself. And the business doesn't run itself. You actually need to learn how to run a business. And I suppose what I've learned from Tim, or I'm learning from Tim, is to put those systems and processes and the marketing and all those sort of things in place so that actually I've got a company that runs despite me.
Every client has 2, 3, 4 goals that they are responsible for getting done each week. And one of my jobs is to hold them accountable for getting it done. When they do get it done, it's fantastic. What are the results? What do they look like? What's it going to mean to your business? Let's move on. Let's get to the next step. If they don't get it done, I can't slap them on the hand, but I can challenge them and say, what is it that kept you from getting it done? And what's the impact going to be on your business?
The system is the benefit. The system of knowing that you're on track, knowing that you are working on areas to get to your goal, and having your coach have multiple points for you to work on each week that focuses you on what needs to get done.
I think the greatest benefit from an action coach is knowing that he is like the silent partner in your business. It's somebody that you can call upon at all times. You're not alone because you don't know what you don't know. So being able to communicate with your action coach on a weekly basis and setting all your 90-day goals, then it keeps you on track. And if you don't know anything, your action coach finds out for you so that you're always moving in a constant direction, and that's always forward. Whereas in the past, it was only what Michael knew, and if Michael didn't know how to do something or he thought it was the correct way, you didn't learn until it had cost you, and it always costs you money. So with an action coach, you learn to test and measure.
We were able to step outside of this business once every 2 weeks for 2.5 hours and look at it from the outside and look in and start to set goals. That was the big thing for us. We were not doing that before. We were just coming in day to day, beating our heads against the wall. All we know was that we needed more money, and we'll just go to work and do this again tomorrow. We'll just do it harder.
I think that when you're a business owner and you get to that stagnant phase, or there's something else out there and you don't know how you're going to get it, you have all those blind spots. I think that when I look at where I've grown the most or what has happened the most that's exceeded my expectations is just the revelation of those blind spots. Being able to see them and tackle them one by one, but also the tools that the Action Coach has. There has not been one thing that I've been able to pull out as a problem that my coach has not been able to say, let's use this.
The most tangible result is I've become much more structured. I have many more processes and systems in place, so that actually now I can serve my clients in a way that I was never able to do so before.
They've shown us what we need to do, what we were doing wrong, how we could do it differently. So you're not trying to reinvent the wheel. You have somebody there saying, well, look, from our experience, this has worked. Even as, Action Coaching itself is a franchised operation. So as we are also a franchise operation, we're able to draw upon that experience of Brad Sugars himself, coming back down through our Action Coach as to what we can do to replicate that system so it'll grow for us as well.
I listen to a lot of the testimonials my coaches get from around the world, and their clients don't just say, this is my coach, my coach is great. They say, I love my coach. I love business coaching. They use the word love about it. Now, when was the last time someone ran up to you and said, "I love my accountant"? You know, it doesn't quite work that way. But the reason is what we work on is the positive side of business, the sales, the marketing, the management.
Since working with our Action Coach, which has been about 13 months, we've had a 700% increase in our net profit.
Our cash flow is much better. We have our projections for the first quarter of the year are 57% up on last year, which is fantastic.
Amazing.
It's not something that we were expecting to happen quite so quickly.
No.
I do know that I had I think a 300% increase in profits the first quarter alone, and also obviously had, after that first quarter, I was able to start working less hours.
When a coach works with a client, the coach will not only coach the owner, they'll often train the staff, turn them into a team, which totally changes their work environment. You start to see a happy team of people.
I guess the greatest improvements are that everybody now has a defined role. Everybody has a clear job description. Everybody knows what they should be doing. And as sort of leading the team, I can then leverage off their responsibilities so that I can do what I'm supposed to do.
We had 5 clients all of last year in 2009, and in our 90 days with Rick, we've already signed 6 clients. So we're more than doubling our business this year, and hopefully tripling, maybe quadrupling.
Profitability, we actually tried to sit down and do the math on that, and it's kind of hard when you have to go from a negative number into a positive number and figure out what kind of a percentage of increase that is. But all I can say is that it was significant. I mean, anytime you go from minus this to plus this, it's huge.
The pressures of small business are dramatic and can pull a family apart really quick. And if the business starts doing well, the pressure's relieved and the family gets time together all of a sudden.
For the first time in my 11-year-old's life, I've been able to pick him up from school every day at 3 p.m. as a business owner. So I leave my office every day and pick him up from school, and we have time together to work on his homework.
My franchising client has had amazing success on the top line and the bottom line of that particular business, global expansion, which is amazing. However, we had an awards night, and he won one of the key awards. And when he got up to speak and receive the award, he basically said that in front of like 120 of our clients, very emotional scenes, he actually said that he and his wife had had 2 children prior to coaching, all prior to coaching, and that's all they wanted. They only wanted 2, and the reason that they didn't want more was they physically didn't think they could afford it. And he said in the acceptance speech that the only reason and that they were at that particular time now pregnant was that they'd been taught the strategies and the coaching had been able to create that wealth creation model. It was actually coaching essentially had created a life, and of course, you know, it still makes me watery eyes even to think about that, because it's sort of like, I suppose the level of what we're really doing means that, you know, we're not only helping people, it's also then creating new things too.
He was the single most valuable decision that I made in the business. So by going and getting certified and doing these different things that were very valuable to the business, hiring an action coach was the most valuable thing that we've done.
When you look at business overall, as long as the owner actually wants success, is willing to invest both their time and money in success, then the education and the coaching we bring to the table, they will succeed with. You know, that to me is 100% certain. It's just got to be, you've got to put in the time, the energy and the effort.
I don't understand why other people don't have them, to be honest with you. You know, there is a very sort of definite way to do business, and I think what Action Coach show you is the models that they use can be applied across any business. It's not just, I don't know, some big corporate functions. You know, you can be a one-man band and still put into practice what Action Coach teach you and have a good business.
If I did not take on Action Coach, I would not be in business today, because I would have gone insane, because I would have thought I was crazy and alone.